Welcome to the Dwayne Kerrigan podcast, and I'm your host, Dwayne Kerrigan. With 35 years in business and close to 30 ventures across 12 industries, I've seen a lot. Amid the celebrity allure of entrepreneurship, many exceptional entrepreneurs remain shadowed. Here, I team up with these hidden talents to unveil their challenges and successes. Dive in with me to unearth entrepreneurial gems, learn from our experiences, and get educated. Hey everybody, thanks very much for tuning in. This is the second part of the conversation with Alvin Brown. If you didn't catch the first week, go back. Please listen to that. It's a fantastic conversation. You're going to learn about his concept on, we're always one decision away, and how we take our experiences, especially his experiences in sport, and how he came from a place of no confidence, no belief, no self-worth, and elevated himself and his life in those areas to move forward with purpose and passion. So tune in. If you haven't heard the first part, go back, listen to that one, and tune in for this exciting episode. Thanks very much for tuning in and listening to us. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. I heard you quickly say, which wolf are you going to feed? And do you want to share that story about the wolves?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a classic. I think it's a Native American, maybe something like that, where they talk about we all have two wolves in us, and one is the wolf that nurtures us, helps us, and the other one is the wolf that takes us down another path. So which one will thrive? Which one will thrive in us? And it's the one you feed. So if you are, if you're doing things that are not getting you where you want to go, it's easy to switch. It's just the one you feed or starve the one that you don't want to thrive, right? But a lot of people feed the wolf they don't want, right? A lot of people, and again, it's, always, when it comes to religion, for instance, religion is an interesting topic. I always say God is the God that everyone praises is a funny God. So God gives you this drive for procreation, looking at the female and, or whatever you're driven to, the gender that you're interested in. And it gives you this drive to them. And the whole underlying need is for procreation at the end of the day. When you think of a peacock and it sprays it and a baboon's butt gets red and it draws in and all these things, is for procreation. Draw them in. All right, draw them in. So, even the bee that takes the thing and shakes it over, and the flower that spreads, it's all about procreation again. So you have this thing in all of us that, drives us. But then the God said, don't do that. Guilt. You suffer with guilt and shame because you thought about another woman, right? And you looked at another woman. Meanwhile, it's a crafty little trick. So you give me this drive, but then now I look and I got to go to repent in church, So, at the end of the day, we have to respect that part of nature where, we're driven to do certain things, right? So, so I think the question you're asking about which wolf that you feed is to what's driving in your life and what are you feeding, right? And also realize that, we're humans. We're humans. Forgive yourself for minor discretions and things like that, because we beat ourselves up too much. I find in life, the wolf that you feed, and sometimes, and I always say to people this: when you chastise a child, think about the jail system. When we chastise a child for doing something bad, what's the tendency? Does that child tend to do less of the bad thing or more of it, right? More of it often, right? Because what you've done is you've made them feel bad about themselves. So they say, no, I'm not worth anything. So I'm going to do more of that because I'm worthless anyways. It's almost like somebody going off their diet. Well, you know what? Screw it anyways. I already ate this. I'm just going to keep going, and start again. So you make them feel shame and you make them feel guilt. And when people feel shame, they do more of it. This is why beating ourselves up when we talk about the wolf, sometimes beating ourselves up over little things we do, we tend to do more of it. And if the listeners think about it, when was the last time you chastised yourself over this thing you did that was quote unquote bad and you stopped doing it? It's very rare. It's very rare. But you encourage. I often think about. You remember that the cop show where they take these kids scared straight back in the day. They would take these kids that were wayward, put them in a jail system, and let them see what it would be like to go there, right? And the goal is they see how hard it is in jail at an early age, young offenders, and they turn their life around. But typically what they found is the really kids who are really deep in, they actually get more angry and they push back and they end up being in there sooner than later. But when they break, when they go to the jail and one of the jail prisoners or the guard shows them love, the kids break. They break down because no one's ever showed them love. So what I'm saying here when I'm talking about this is the good wolf, bad wolf thing. We have to almost be careful of that too, of what we're calling bad. Because sometimes shame and guilt, we do more of it. You make me feel ashamed. It's rare that you give a kid, you make them feel shame and guilt and they stop doing what they're doing. Or you forgive them, love on them, and they want more of that. You know what I mean? So anyways, the question you asked about the good wolf, bad wolf, is that what are you feeding in your life? Are you feeding the gambling? Because that gambling is the wolf that you're feeding. Are you feeding the pornography? Are you feeding this? Are you feeding that? What wolf are you feeding? And it can shift everything around. Right? So and again, just forgiving each other. I think we put too much emphasis on being hard on each other, being hard on yourself, right? So anyway, so that's kind of where I was going with the good wolf, bad wolf.
I'm curious, like you and Suze have done such a great job at raising the kids, and I mean, they're all like, you've just done such an amazing job. Is that kind of been the philosophy of how you've raised them?
Yeah, in which one is?
In giving them praise and
Yeah,
love, and trying not to shame them, or just like, were you guys big disciplinarians, or?
no, enough, but not, no, not a lot. We're big relationship. So I remember again with Cammie, we give them. I always got freedom. I always got freedom. Again, my mom wouldn't. I don't know if that's because just she couldn't, but I always felt free. When we talk about love too, by the way, I've recently been realizing that the feeling of unconditional. So people would ask me, "How do you think you have gone so far?" And da da da. And I think it's because I have a feeling, a perception of unconditional love with my mom. Right? I feel I could when a child gets unconditional love, I feel they think they can go out and achieve anything, and they can fly and fall and get back up. Now, remember when I said unconditional, it's a perception because you could give them everything, roof over their heads, all the resources they need. But if they don't feel unconditional love, I think that's where the problem comes. So, so when we raised the kids, yeah, we're more mindful of because I didn't get, except for my mom, and it took me a while to realize that. I was just Susie and I were actually having a chat in the car a little while ago, a long drive, and I coming up, I've never met very many men that I could actually look up to who were men. Meaning, I don't mean macho. I mean wise, um, role models. I didn't meet very many men older than me. It's when I got, now I'm meeting friends who are, good people, role models, and you know, but no, there were a lack of strong role models, because I didn't have any fathers around, or my father was a drunk, and I think he died at 50. I'm not even sure. He was in an unmarked grave for 20 years. Yeah, like a John Doe. They just found him, you know. And after that, I really haven't met many true men growing up. Really and truly. As her and I were talking, because it's a whole other conversation we're having about things, and
And do you think that was like a socioeconomic thing, or was it an access thing, or
all the above, it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just found that, yeah, maybe all of it. Yeah. Because, what I'm talking about is that, that right now I have a lot of kids. I'm going to call them kids. Yeah, they are to me. They're my son's ages. It's amazing how many of them actually latch on to me. And I mentor them, and we talk like, I don't even feel like they're kids. We talk like buddies, and I think I'm providing them with what I didn't have. That place you can come to and talk to me, and I'm 57, they're 30, 25, 35, 40, and we get along, like we talk. And Dwayne, I don't know if the era I was in or whatever, but it's, yeah, I haven't met many men who were significantly, being a resource for me to. And again, it might be they're probably out there, but maybe I wasn't. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
so was it that lack of role model that you like made you and Susie really kind of such like great parents? Like, and
You know what, Dwayne? Yeah, I'm gonna say yes, because we're talking about, and I'm holding back a little bit because I don't want to alienate anybody like close to me in a way, like so. But really and truly,
well, don't hold back. Just don't tell me you were on the. If you don't tell me you were on the
you,
podcast, then
you know, you know,
they'll never find out.
you know what's funny? You know what's funny? Your podcast is big enough now; they'll be here. But anyways, what was funny is I'd said something about a friend on my podcast. I haven't seen him in 30 years. And one day he pops up out of nowhere, gives me a call. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like, we're still, buddies. But he just called me separately. But somehow I told a story on my podcast about my friend going to church, and I thought, wow, I should go to church. He goes to church every time. But I said, when he went, I look over and he sleeps during the entire thing. I said, so what is this God that he? Anyways, I went on about this. So he texted me, said, hey, I heard your podcast. Is that me you're talking about? I'm like, oh God, I forgot you're listening to the thing. Anyways, so then I kind of now.
You're just gonna text him back. I don't know. Do you sleep in church?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he knows who I'm talking about. I described that thing pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
So I could not lie. I'm like, yeah, I did. It's you, man. But yeah, I learned a lesson though. Anyways, yeah. So now, so my point is, so I'll give you my boxing coach. This is what I mean. My boxing coach, he was like a mentor to me. I felt really like he was like custom model on Mike Tyson. He provided this. I knew he loved me. He's from Newfoundland and the whole 9 yards, And I was like, yeah, he's a good mentor, And so we went to Cuba, and after the fights were done, he started drinking, right? And he got a little saucy, right? So he's sitting under this. He goes, Alvin, come here. I go, hey, coach, what's up? He goes, Alvin, you're not like the rest of them. I'm like, coach, what do you mean? You know, the rest of them. You're not the rest. I'm like, Coach, don't say anything else, man. Don't say anything else. I'm just gonna walk away and leave that. I want to hear what you're talking about, right? So you was talking about black people. It's like, don't do that. Don't do that. You don't give the rest of them chance. So, and so when I look at that, and I looked up to him, but when I'm talking about that person, Dwayne, what I'm talking about is that person where you're unconditional. You can go to them, there's no color. It's just, you go to me, you could confide and you feel that, because I didn't have a father, so I thought this guy was pretty cool. But then there's a limit. You see what I mean by unconditional? There's a condition. You're drunk now, so it comes out a little bit, right? So and then throughout my life, yeah, I'm talking older men. I haven't met many, Dwayne, who, and again, it might be, as you said, socioeconomic and resource. Maybe I wasn't gravitating at that level. Maybe it's a man at the level I was at. I've not found a real man. Now I've found a few. That one mentor of mine right now, Tom Hill, as you know, he's older, but he's going through some dementia now and things like that. So but I've found another 70-year-old this guy is solid. I've sniff checked him and he's a solid. So men like that weren't around. So my main point though was, with Susie and I were talking, it was a deep conversation about our relationship with our father, right? And I said, it's not that I have an issue with your father. It's just that I've grown up not hoping to find that male figure, that, but I'm not. And so that's what I'm getting more to, but it was a long more drawn out conversation, but we just got talking about the difference between you thinking I don't like your father, or me kind of disappointed in how he's showing up, as a grandfather, and so on and so forth, right? So it's not, I love him, but I'm just disappointed in that I've yet to see what I thought of grandfather. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So anyways, it's a longer story, but I'll leave it there. But it's that idea of showing up as that mentor, that unconditional mentor, that, everyone looks for that. If you didn't have it, you had a great father. Yeah. I met, obviously I met your mom and your dad, right? Yeah. So, he was a good, you're fortunate that way. Yeah. You're fortunate. So, so anyway, so that's kind of where I'd go with that.
Yeah, it's funny when you bring up, like, even having a good father, sometimes you don't realize the quality of what you have in front of you until either, there's some separation. And I mean, in my situation, he's passed on. But I realized it, but as a young guy, I always thought, like, well, there's other people who are either more successful or smarter or have more experience or whatever. And, you don't sometimes see, whether it's your judgment or whether it's your, well, judgment would be the major one probably, but but the frame of your picture, that you're looking at it through your rose colored glasses, and, you see it differently. And then, I find as I'm getting older, I'm starting to, I guess maybe it's wisdom, maybe it's experience, maybe it's just calming down a little bit of the ego. But I can start to see, qualities in people with less judgment, and just understand that, hey, this is the path that they're on, and they might be really strong in one area, but they might be weak in other areas. And, but I will say, like, as it's gone on, and like you said, you brought up your mom, like that feeling of having that unconditional love from your mom, which has allowed you to persevere through so much, which is like same with my, both my mom, you knew my mom.
Yeah, I knew your mom.
Fucking tough she was.
Oh, better, yeah.
But I just, like, and we always used to butt heads because I was tough and she was tough, and
she was a piece of you.
I was a lot like her.
Yeah.
And man, my appreciation It's probably, I don't even 100x since she's passed away. And both actually my dad, like, and I don't know if you want to talk about it. If you don't want to talk about it, I'm okay with it. But I do think it's, you know, if people haven't kind of gleaned from this conversation so far, like if repetition is the mother of all skill, you're the fucking photo child for that statement. You know what I mean? Like you've just like, you know, over and over and over again, just, you know, the learning, the growth, the, you know, where you got yourself to. I mean, I've had theory. I mean, I've had people work on me from all over the fucking world, just because, you know, when I travel or whatever, and I've never had anybody that like you. And I just look at that kind of that repetition and that perseverance and the commitment to mastery. And then, you know, what you said earlier about, you know, that feeling of unconditional love, which has kind of got you through, you know, what you had to go through. And then, you know, the loss of Cammie, you know, this and a battle through cancer that was awful. You know, it's like, what are the reflection points? I don't even know if I have any. I wasn't really, didn't know we maybe talk about it. And
I have something to share with a few things you said. One, my mom. My mom, obviously being uneducated, well, I shouldn't say that, man. You know, she didn't go to school beyond, I don't even know when. I'm not sure when. She had kids young. When I did the math on her age and what my sisters, I'm like, wow, she's a teenager. Anyways, so I used to wish my mom, you know, boy, what could you be like a Cosby mom, you know, educated and all these things, right? How come these guys, you know, Cosby and all that stuff, right? TV mom, you know? And now most of the things you compliment me about is my mom. I got to thank her for that. And sometimes when I used to sit and wish, oh, I wish my dad, you know, blah, blah, blah. Wish I had one. And that was, you know, because I see kids sometimes with their fathers hanging around their neck, on their shoulders, and they're taking them to stuff. And, you know, wow, what would that be like, right? To have that. But, you know, looking back now, if he would have influenced me anyway, showed me some kind of love or showed me being a role model, I would have taken on all his traits or some of them that I didn't like. But because he was so much of what I didn't want. You know, when people ask me who made me the man I am, I used to be scratching my head. I don't know. But in actuality, I got to say my dad made me the man I am because I didn't want to be like him. And maybe my mom too made me the man I am because I want to unconsciously, totally unconsciously, not intentionally, be like her. She's dedicated. She lives with me now. She's dedicated to the family to no degree. I mean, yeah, my mom is dedicated to family. So I would say my mom, you know, and I didn't even know that. You can, because she's not a man, right? I'm looking, which male role model? I'm looking around. No, my mom. My mom was my role model unconsciously. Her hard work ethic, perseverance, the love of family. That's my mom. And I didn't want to be a role model of my father. So I did everything. He was abusive, alcoholic. Yeah, not good. Like, you know, he married a couple women, different women here and there. I look at my sister. She's from a different father. Her father had 17 kids. Yeah. So, you know, when I hear those things, Dwayne, that made me stay faithful too, on top of it. Because again, I'm just like every other man. I'm driven by every other, you know, drive that drives a man, uh, gay or straight. I'm driven by the same thing. I'm not super anything. But as you said, the biggest compliment you gave me is the consistency and repetition. And I'm fully realized that I'm one decision away. all the time. So if I'm cognizant of me being one decision away, that gives me the humility to work on being better each time, because I'm not thinking, oh, I'm over here going, yeah, 41 years, Dwayne, never thought about another woman, never, man. I'm, I eat right all the time. No, you think about it, but you realize the space between stimulus and response. Women are gorgeous for me, but the space between stimulus and response. And Susie would find another man gorgeous, but the space between stimulus and response. I'm not gonna sit here and go shaming over it. Oh, I thought about another. Women are fantastic, but the metaphor I give is like, I also think Lamborghinis are fantastic. I think a nice Ferrari looks great too, but I gotta maintain it. If I buy it, I gotta make the payment every month, or if I can even afford to buy the whole thing. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's nice to look at. And I saw a Lambo the other day downtown, Dell and I. Man, that thing looks so badass when you see that drive by. Ooh, just gives you this feeling. Whoa, we often marvel at this thing. But Dwayne, I'm not gonna buy one. I like my caddy that I pulled up in. It's nice. Right?
When you talk about one decision away and your mom's influence and the consistency, I always think about, and it popped in my head, was like, anybody can sail a ship in calm waters.
Yeah.
But you have not had calm waters for the last fucking couple of years.
Yeah, a whole bunch. Yeah.
Yeah. More than a couple of years.
Yeah.
With Cammie being sick and all that kind of stuff. What if, like, if you don't mind, if you don't want to talk about it, I'll just even, I'm more than, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do think that people could learn from this, because so many people have this, I just think that you're a poster child for, consistency. Like I said earlier, right?
Appreciate that.
Small things consistently done over time get you to where you want to be, with integrity, with, pride and your chin up, and then you get dealt a fucking blow like this. And I remember, like, when I got that call or I found out, and I remember calling you, and I was just I remember breaking down before I called you. I'm fucking bawling.
Yeah. It's close to home for you.
Almost like it was my own kid. You know what I mean? Like,
pretty close.
And it's like, fuck.
Pretty close, Dwayne. You guys were an integral part of us, with them. So you work for Terry, and then they'll work with you. Those moments, you're part of our thing, our structure.
We're grateful for that. But you guys are, I know there's been hard times and sad times, but you guys are coping through it. And I'm just curious, like, some of these philosophies of distance and time, and from stimulus and response, and the one decision away, like, some of these principles, how are you using them, or how did you use them? Well, how did you use them, and how are you still using them to get through this whole process? And because I think it's a value for people to really hear, like, yeah, you can do it, but you have 4 great kids, and you're an income producer. Not a lot of people can say they're an income. You are a fucking income producer. Like, you can make money, and it's so people might look at it and go, oh yeah, well, Dwayne had this guy on his podcast, and he just kind of had this, like, it started off rough and early, but found the girl he loves, married her, had some kids with her.
Got lucky.
He was lucky, but which was not it at all. But then you get hit with the blow of all blows.
Yeah, of all blows, 100%. And so the one, again, wisdom, not a quote, I heard is this: you won't rise to the occasion, but you'll fall to your level of preparation. Right. So
that's the Navy SEAL. Yeah.
Right. You won't rise.
Everybody thinks that they're going to rise to the occasion when they need it, but you will fall to the level of your preparation.
Okay. And I go back to Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas. Mike Tyson did not prepare for Buster. He thought he was going to boy a walkthrough. Here's this guy, tin can, just my tune-up. He came all fat, love handles around him, wasn't ready. Well, Buster was ready, and Buster took him out, right? His first knockout was that, right? So he fell to his level of preparation. And I got hit by Buster. I got hit by Buster Douglas, my son, right? So, Dwayne, so one of the things a client of mine said, this is years ago, decades ago. For those who are older, they'll know this song, Cats in the Cradle. Okay. When I heard that song, Cats in the Cradle and Silver Moon, the boy in the moon and all this, and it's where we'll get together later, son. Dwayne, that hit me personally. And for some reason, it stuck with me. That now this man, when the kid was young, the kid skips, Dad, can we go play? He says, later, son, I'm busy working and doing my thing. We'll get together soon. Didn't. Years passed by. He's older now. The kid's grown into a man, got his own family. They said, son, can we get together? He said, later, Dad, my kids, I got to put them in, I got to work, and we'll get together soon. And then he passed. And so it never happened. So that's kind of stuck with me for some reason. It stuck in my head. So that drove me actually I work close to home, 7 minutes from my home. So I could catch every baseball game, every this, every that. Meanwhile, I worked a lot because I worked a lot. But here's the funny thing. I worked a lot, it seemed, because on days I would drive to Florida with my son or drove up to Kansas City or wherever from here, 15-hour drive, or whatever. I always made every recital. My kids will tell you. I made it football games, everything. So I built my business around my life. And Susie was great because sometimes I had people over at the house Jay Cutler came, and it's on YouTube. 2 a.m. I'm working on Jay Cutler because he's in town. But I told Susie, hey, I'm going to go. She's like, cool, go. Right. And then I would come back and still be there to help the kids. So I would build the business around my life. And that's the payoff. So I talked to my client, and she's gone through a lot herself. She was in a car accident. Her husband was in the car with her. He passed away. And she survived, quote unquote. But her son was in the back seat. He survived. But now he's an alcoholic and he's going through some stuff. He challenges her all the time. And she's still a beautiful soul. When you meet her, you'd never know. Just a beautiful soul. Right? So she said to me, Alvin, when I went to grief counseling, she said the one thing they said to me was, those who suffer grief most heavily, we're all going to go through grief, right? When we lose somebody. But those who suffer are those who are living with regret that they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they shoulda, coulda. Dwayne, I can tell you something. What's getting me through my loss of my son is that I was there when he was born, and I was there when he passed, and everything in between. He would call me, as you said, you'd call me at 5. You said when we opened. Right before he went into the hospital, the ICU, he called me at 4 a.m. and said, Dad, can you come get the dog? I just don't feel like I'm breathing right. And I said, okay. He texted me. I jumped in the car. I went and got his dog, brought him back, and then he went to go get himself checked out, right? And with his wife at the time, they got married. So when I look back, Dwayne, the way I'm able to process this is his attitude too, by the way, was incredible. His attitude through this thing, there's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack here with that. His attitude was incredible. Incredible. This guy was so resilient. He took he took it on the chin when he said he had an out of body experience when he found out that when they told him that because what happened was he fell on his wrist. That started it. His wrist swelled up. But there's a mechanism of injury. No big deal. Fell on his wrist. Okay, that makes sense. Wrist swelled up. He injured something. He went to physio. Wouldn't get better. Then once it didn't get better, they said, let's check a little deeper. Sure enough, found out a rare childhood cancer, rhabdomyosarcoma. And then he went on this whole journey. Okay. They cut it out of his wrist, took a part of his hip, cut out the bone, thought they caught it. He even had a FU cancer party, and they said remission. He dinged the bell, the whole thing. Thought he had it. Well, a little while later, they said, oh, lymph nodes. And, once it gets there, it's trouble, right? So then it started to go, and, then again, we almost had this thing. He fought this thing, man. If you read online, they have a whole history of this thing. It went from there to his lung. Then he fought that. He got that back. He went to his heart. Afterwards, it stuck over to the fascia around the heart. It blocked arteries. I did not know your heart rate could go to 300. Yeah. His heart rate went to 300. I thought when you learned in fitness, you learn 220 minus your age. Your maximum heart rate is 220. And you minus your age, you can find your target heart rate, all this stuff. I thought 220, 300. Yeah. And he didn't even pass out. Like he said he blacked out for a second when he went to the hospital. And so at that point, Dwayne, I had a few gifts in my life. Okay. That was October 2023. October 26th, 2023, he had a heart. It attacked his heart. He got admitted to the hospital. We drove down quickly, and they basically thought this was going to be it for him. So at that point, he said, each of us wants to talk to us privately to tell us, what he felt and his last few words. And I'm like, if there's any regret, I wish I would have listened to him. But I'm so set that nothing's gonna happen to you. I'm gonna let you talk, but nothing's gonna happen. And nothing did at that time. They got the heart under control. They gave him some meds, but he talked to all of us and gave us our marching rights. Here's what's up. Here's what you meant to me. So I got a chance to hear how he felt about me and the job I did with him, and it was all great. It was amazing, right? But I didn't really listen to Dwayne. I just kind of, no, man, you're not going anywhere. And he didn't. He got out, took some meds. They kind of got him back, right? Then he made a decision he was going to marry his girlfriend at the time. And they got married on October 26, 2024. And at that point, I didn't realize at the wedding, he was saying, I said, hey, how you doing, son? About 11 p.m. And he was like, I'm kind of, not I'm not feeling great, Dad. I'm tired, tired. And okay, just thought from chemo, and anything like that. But I think that was the kind of the signal that things weren't, going well. So, and then November 8th, he had a heart attack at home. The tumor attacked his heart. And that's where everything kind of unraveled. And we went into ICU. Christmas Eve, his organs failed. They said, he's not going to make it out in the afternoon. Put him on dialysis and life support. He made it out. We made it to the new year. And his text to us on the new year was, hey guys, I'm alive in 2025. That was his joke, right? That he sent. Yeah, this guy's joking around. And he just got off of being sedated and intubated. And he's sending a text to a friend who's going through some struggles. And they asked him, hey, wait a minute now, how you doing? He said, I'm doing fine. Just tell me about what's going on with you. And literally he's just got out of. So, how did we handle it? Together, everybody together. Dwayne, I knew he was looking at me for reassurance on how he's doing too. And I I kept everything the same. I went and worked out. Even when he was in the hospital, I worked out every day. I said, son, I'm going to go work out. Okay, yeah, Dad, I'll see you. And his wife was always there, and he had huge support. He chose a fantastic wife. Man, the friends he chose, unbelievable, Dwayne. Like, I'm in awe at the way he chose the right. It's hard to choose the right friends. He chose the right friend, right partner. She was there, thick and thin. She wouldn't go home. He'd often tell her, "Go home. My dad and mom's here. Go." No, she wouldn't. Just like a boomerang. Boom, she's back. Anyways, so I think, Dwayne, the answer to your question, how did I handle it and how we handling it? All the work I've done over the years. You won't rise to the occasion, you'll fall to your level of preparation. I've done a lot of preparing. My niece passed away when she was 15. She had cerebral palsy. And she passed away. I sat with her body before the coroners came and thought about life, introspection, just looking at the shell and thinking about life. My wife's grandmother, sat with her when she passed. So I thought about life a lot, what life meant, and so on and so on. So anyways, that's one way. Two is the love we had, my son and I, and the family together. It's really a strong thing. So, and when he told me what I meant to him, and during the whole experience, we were holding his hands all the way through. Dwayne, when people ask me, there were more moments, Dwayne. We were watching the Super Bowl, in this hospital room. We were watching this Super Bowl, playoffs. I left at 9:30 when the halftime, went home, and afterwards he called me, wanted to know how to set this box up on the TV, and that was not long, and that was the turnaround. Actually, was then he got a clot that stuck in his lung, and his oxygen went down and just went unraveled. But Dwayne, most of the times, I was foolishly in La La Land or something. Just, he's gonna be fine. He had his heart attack in the first November 8th when he attacked his heart. He died about 4 times. His wife performed CPR on him at home. She didn't know what she was doing. She called they called 911. They told her, talked her through it. Took them 11 minutes to get there. They took him, and then he went to the hospital, and then we showed up. And so he died there. I was sitting with him. I looked over. I'm looking at his numbers on the screen. I all of a sudden look, and the numbers are going down. I'm like, I look over at him, he turns gray. And then the noise went off, and they run in. It almost looked like I said, yeah. And I almost said, it seemed like the Indy car. They run in. One's got a needle ready to give him. And I'm like, Cammie, stay with us. Like, I'm shouting as they all come in. I step out, and Susie and his wife are crying. I'm like, listen, guys, I'm not gonna. Sorry, I can't hug you right now. I'm gonna stay here, and I'm watching them run out, and the nurses, they showed no facial expression when they come out. I'm like wondering how he's doing, and you could see them in there, like 20 of them, like a flurry going in, and obviously that goddamn noise that going off, and I'm shouting, Cam, stay with us, buddy, stay with us, you stay, and anyways, long story short, that happened a couple times. One time I was there and I was heading home. I was heading home because it was going decently, it was stable. By the time I hit the driveway, got to step out of the car, Susie texts me, didn't you get my message? I said, no, what? Yet another incident. So I flew back there again. So it was really hell that we went through. But he walked out of there again. He went home. And then he had that was prior to November 8th. And he went home, and then November 8th he had that let him, no, that was November 8th. And then in December he went back in again, and we start this whole December 26th, 24th. While everybody's at home, probably, Christmas Eve, we were being told, call everybody, gather everybody. And he made it through that. So Dwayne, he fought. So, my answer then to your question is, how did we get through it? I'm gonna say maybe Dwayne, maybe a little bit of luck, because could I have predicted that I'm doing this stuff because this might happen? No. All those things I told you about earlier, the decisions, you were one decision away and making the right, and putting unconditional love in front of all the other things that we could get upset at, making sure he knows perception. He knows that they're loved unconditionally. Like with my daughter, for instance, now, she's just, I support her in so many ways that, and all of my kids, but that idea that you can't, and I get that, that's my mom again. I can't fail. I can't fail. She's always got my back. I said I could murder somebody and she'd go, where do you want to hide the body? That's the kind of thing, right? So when I think about that and I think about Cammie, I can't look back, Dwayne, and go, I did anything wrong. I did any missteps. I said something to him that hurt me, or I did something, and that's what he said too. So I couldn't have done it any better. I couldn't have, yeah, I couldn't have done it any better. So I'm going to go through grief, but I'm not going to go through suffering, because I'm fully aware that we have a finite time on this planet. It's not infinite in this physical body. And yeah, combination of things. His bravery, my, again, I have no regrets about, my journey with him. No, I said something, did something that hurt him, and I didn't solve it. I can't say with any of them. I can't say, yeah, I can't say I did. I can't look back and go, oh man, I should have, I could have, would have, wish I would have, could have, So I say that's how I'm able to get through, is I can just focus on healing, not on suffering, the healing of suffering that I could never fix again, because it's too late, right? And the reason why I say that's luck is, yeah, I don't know where that wisdom came from for me to adopt that philosophy. Maybe it's, again, you asked me about curiosity. It's about being curious. What did my dad do? Why is he, why is he like that? And that led to, I don't want to be like that. I saw my brother, my oldest brother. He had a really good woman, really good woman. And I was, obviously, I don't know how much older than he is, me. Maybe he might be 12 years older than me. I'm not sure. But when he brought this woman into our family, I thought, wow, lucky guy. But he messed that up, in a big way, big way, multiple times. And his kids calls me their father, because I've taken care of them, right? They call me on Father's Day, and and tells me I'm their father in a way, and anyways. So, when I look back at him, my older brother, he made me the man I am today, because I saw his actions, and I saw he can't go back now. They don't talk to him. He doesn't talk to them. They avoid him. Ironically, Cammie didn't, I'm going to put this out there. Cammie wasn't a fan of my brother either. And he showed up at Cammie's last minute. Cammie wasn't aware. He's unconscious at the time. But he showed up, and everybody kind of looks, what's this guy doing here? Because he heard through the grapevine. But in the 4 years Cammie was going through it, he's never talked to Cammie. So he finally must have heard, and he shows up at the hospital. And everyone turned to look like, what's he doing here? And his son walks in, I saw him and didn't even say anything to him, and just went to hold Cammie's hand and ignored him. At Cammie's celebration of life, he wanted to gather all the kids, all his sons around, because he had maybe 4 sons, 2, 1. He has a 10-year-old now, or just turned 11. And anyways, he wanted them to gather around and take a picture. And they're like, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. They kind of, okay, since, it's in front of everybody, they kind of did it, but they all kind of, you can tell in the picture, they're all kind of standing. They didn't, yeah. So he made me the man I am. I didn't want that, Dwayne. I didn't want them to hate me, to, I wanted their love and their respect. And I knew it's earned and not given. You don't earn that stuff. Right? People don't give you love. You earn it every day. You don't give you respect either. You earn. Those things are earned and not given. So I go to work at earning that on a daily by respecting them, by, again, being the person that I didn't get, giving them what I didn't get from people who I consider mentors. I get so many messages. I keep a lot of them from men too. Dwayne, I used to think men would admire me for the things I did, i.e., boxing, martial arts, being a macho guy. You know what I get a lot of messages for? What you said, my marriage. I get a lot of messages about, I'm like, what? I thought it would have been more of that stuff.
The tough shit.
Yeah, not this stuff. Like, what? Oh, my marriage. They're looking at my marriage. They're looking at my relationship. When my daughter puts stuff online, I get messages. Oh, I want it to be like, I'm like, whoa. So that's what you guys are interested in? I was doing me. I'm not doing it to, I'll do this and be impressed. People, look, I don't put anything about my family online. Zero. People can go and check. There's nothing about my family. You'd think that this guy is a workaholic and don't have a family. But, I do it because it's at my son. I don't publicize my son's cancer because I'm not doing it for likes. I don't need likes for that. Right. I don't publicize my wife. There's no pictures of her at my office. There's nothing. If you know me, you'll know me. Then that's all I need is a good people who know me, know what's up. People who don't know me don't know what's up. I met a 50-odd-year-old man who said to me, and we're really good friends now for about maybe a decade. But he said, Alvin, you know what I was surprised at when I met you? This is coming from a grown-ass man. He's older than me. He's 3 years older than me. He says that you didn't have a burner phone, like a second phone. Yeah. He says, because I guess he's met, and he came and met Susie and stayed at our house. And he's like, you shocked that I'm real. You don't have like a second phone. You don't have a side one. No.
Yeah, like a second family.
Piece. Yeah. Like, no, like a kid somewhere, nowhere, illegitimate, and so that's him. I'm like, no, he goes, wow. He's shocked. Okay. 50-odd years old. And then I met a 40-year-old guy. He's 40 now. At the time I was staying we were doing a seminar and I'm staying in, he was in another room and he came in and he heard me talking to Susie, saying goodnight to her and, hey, how's it going? Good. And, he was in the living room. I'm in the bedroom area talking. And then later on he said to me, it's funny. You guys talk like you really like each other. I'm like, yeah. Why? He goes, yeah, that's funny. You just left it there. So Dwayne, I'm like, okay. So I see where I'm not getting the same, it's not matching up. I thought I would impress him with, macho things. Like, no, people are watching other things. That's what's impressing.
Well, it's rare in this world, right?
I guess.
I love this one decision. You're one decision away. And I'm just curious, like in this process of the grief and just the stress, like I can't even, like, I'm just trying to, like, the I don't want to call it suffering, but for lack of a better word, the pain, the suffering, the process, the emotions, the drain, like just the drainage of energy. I mean, I just can't even imagine it. And how did you guys keep it together? Like, and I guess and I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything, but what pops into my head is this one decision away philosophy that you have. And is that kind of like, even for the family, like with the kids and.
So I'm going to put it in this is my perception. Maybe someone else has a different, but I think I'm right. I made a decision, and he and I had many late nights, Dwayne. It was December, January, February, March. So we sat in that room. He wouldn't sleep, by the way, because I think he was afraid to fall asleep because he didn't know what would happen, right? So many nights he wouldn't sleep, and I'd stay with him. So I went every night after work. Wednesday night was my night to sleep over because I have Thursdays off, and I would do any calls from the hospital on Thursday. But I kept everything the same, kind of kept my schedule, but I'd sleep there Wednesday night, and I'd sleep there Saturday night into Sunday, and give his wife a break. So when I slept there, I didn't sleep because he's like, "Dad, what's up, son?" And we started talking about deep stuff, like because he wouldn't sleep. But if his wife stayed, I'd let her sleep, and I would stay up all night. Him and I would talk about everything. He goes, "Are you afraid, Dad? Are you afraid?" I'm like, "No, I'm not afraid, son. I'm not afraid. How about you?" "Yeah, no, I'm not either." So we'd have a lot of talks, a lot of conversations about life, about stuff, deep stuff, everything, man, everything. We talk and again all night. He'd nap. He wouldn't sleep. He'd nap. So because I can't imagine, Dwayne. I wondered when he was when he went to the heart piece first, when he had the heart attacks, the multiples. I wonder what he saw when he would close his eyes. Because if he passed, did he hear all the people coming in and what? So I can't imagine when he lays down and goes quiet. So no wonder he didn't want to sleep, right? Because can you imagine the unconscious stuff that he was hearing and the clear and all kinds of stuff. So he didn't sleep. So we did a lot of talking, a lot of conversation. So, and I went into a different mode, Dwayne. I went unconscious, meaning I didn't make it personal. I think the blessing for me being in therapy, working with people, is I knew they had stuff going on, but I was able to disassociate from being connected to them. So I could treat them like the person and not the disease. So I think that level of preparation. So keep the common theme here. You'll fall to your level of preparation. You won't rise to the occasion. So my level of preparation is years of working with people. And I've lost, obviously, over 30 years. I've lost people over cancer, and I've dementia, watching them go through. And I always treated them like John, Jane, never the condition. So when Cammie was going through it, I did the same. My nephew, and he'll tell you this, he walked in. I remember when Cammie was sedated and intubated out. And it looked horrible because one of the times they put this mask and it was blowing up his face. It's just terrible looking. But Dwayne, this I have a tattoo on my hand that I'm showing Dwayne. It's a picture of my son when he did a modeling show, and he got all conditioned and looked jacked up, and I put that on my phone because I kept remembering what I wanted him to be, not what he was, the state he was in. I kept looking at him the way I wanted him to be, not the state he was in. And I just kept that. I kept that. And I showed him too. I said, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're heading. We're getting out of here. Right? So my nephew, I remember my nephew walking in, and he was crying, and look in his face said, hey, whoa, hang on a second here. Do me a favor. Go back out. I want you to come back in a whole different way, because we're not going to hold a vigil here. He's still alive. He's still good. He's just, right now, they got him on intubation and sedation. He'll be out soon. I need you to turn this around, because I'm not doing a vigil. And he said, okay. So he was good. And then Cammie came out of it, and he was completely great. So my nephew said, Uncle, I learned a lesson. And I said, it's the same thing as your finances, your whatever. The state you're in right now, if you keep seeing it as it is, and worse than it is, it's going to get you. You have to see it better, man. You got to see him better. I said, I see this thing on my phone. I keep this on the phone, because that's how I want him to be. And he said, okay. And he came back, and he was good. So he got that picture. So I just kept on. I did it for the entire family. And Dwayne, I know, and the reason I started telling you this, I'm going to say this on my opinion. His wife, I remember when he was masked. Did he have the mask on? Yeah, he had the mask on. So he was intubated and had the mask, or was he just had the mask? I think he just had the mask on, and the mask was horrible looking, because it was just blowing his face up, and it was just terrible looking, right? And she was upset about it. And I said, listen, when he comes out of it, we have to show him we're the lighthouse for him in the storm. He's going to be looking to us to see what's happening, because he's out. So I need you to find a place in you that you go where you can be centered. And so when he came out and he had to keep it on, when he would freak out a little bit, he would look at me, and I would go, Cammie, just breathe. And I see her eyeing me, and he was looking at me too. And he would calm down, and you could see the meters measured, and you'd calm, and it kept calming him. So I said, I'm going home tonight. I'll need you to do this too. And she brilliantly picked it up, and the two of them are so in sync. Right? So, and then later on, the nurses even commented near the end. They said, "Are you a nurse?" And she said, "No, why?" She said, "No, why?" She said, "Because you're so calm. Like it's like you're calmer than the nurse we have down the hallway who's going through this." She goes, "Wow," and she goes, "Well, it's my father-in-law who really, and she gave that to me." I said, "No, that's you too, though. That's you too." So my point, though, is everyone was looking. I knew everyone was looking to me, Dwayne. Susie was looking to me. I got a card from Susie, and it says that if it wasn't you, we provide the strength for us, and people would, anyways. So bottom line is, Dwayne, I knew they were looking to me to say, how bad is he doing? And he was also looking to me to say, Dad, how am I doing? So I had to put my mask on first, which is why every day, Dwayne, I didn't stop my work. I didn't miss a workout. I didn't miss anything. I kept going. When I was there and he went out, said, Susie, his wife, Shannon, I'm going to go to the gym. I said, okay. I went to the gym, did my workout, came back, and I would stay all night. And every day. When he was out of intubation and sedation, and it's Cam, I'm going to go to jail. Okay, Dad. This normality thing I created in the storm gave them this feeling that, yeah, a rhythm. Instead of a chaos, I didn't fall into the chaos. I kind of created this foundation they could also sit on, this firm thing. Because
a series of rituals that you build a foundation on that provide this consistent and steady and, like you said, like you're the lighthouse in the storm.
Predictable, Dwayne. I was predictable. And in chaos, when you can have some sort of predictability, looking back, now that's what it is. And I didn't stop. I didn't miss a day. I have an app on my phone right now that I save. I won't go into it, but it's an app, Duolingo, Spanish. Right now I'm on day 2,700 or whatever it is. When he got the cancer, I started doing this app, Dwayne, as a distraction. I'm still on day 2,700. I didn't stop because it just kept creating this fucking rhythm, this thing, Dwayne, where and even in the chaos so Susie, today, she was going to go pick up my sister before I left. We had we have laughs after his passing. We went to Cayman Islands a couple of weeks ago. We had a great time. We were laughing. There's videos online she put up of us laughing. And how is this possible? What day is it? Anyway, it's going to be, this month, it'll be 5 months. Yeah. The 6th, it'll be 5 months. And we have moments where we're laughing. We're actually having a good time. We went to a comedy show the other day and I got to talk about that too. Anyways, we went to a comedy show. Susie's she's coming back. She's working out now. She's Dwayne. This thing I did where I created this predictability, this consistency, this force that I stuck all my habits around. I didn't miss a day. 2,700 on Duolingo. And I'm saying that, as simple as that sound is, that consistency, I use that with the same as my work. I did everything so consistent that he knew when he came out of it, he would find me. Shannon, his wife, now she's steady. She's steady as a rock. I mean, I'm still going through days when I look at I've videos on there of him, and even in the hospital one time. So days I go through where, you reflect and you kind of go, this is surreal. But I'm not suffering. I'm sad that he's gone and it's effed up, but I'm not suffering. I'm not down in the basement with the lights off. And so our motto is now turn pain into purpose, which is why we're doing a lot of this foundational stuff. And I got to tell you, as we talked about that, the comedy night, you know what's beautiful, Dwayne, is that I'm finding really, really beautiful, and I couldn't have predicted this. Sometimes you get your head down, you do your work, and it pays off at some point. The amount of people, Dwayne, that's come to our aid and have done shit for us that blows my mind. Okay, since his passing, his friend did a thing called a Goggins run. Right. 4 miles, every 4 hours for 48 hours for my son to raise money. So I jumped in and I did it with him. And then people joined in. A whole lot of people joined in with us. It was crazy. So anyways, and we raised a ton of money for him, for his fund. Because one of the things he wanted when he went, he says, I want to change. I want to impact people with this. So I want a foundation. I said, okay, we'll take that. We're going to raise so we want to raise $500,000. so his name goes on the foundation, and they create a whole thing. And we're gonna keep going. We're gonna have galas. We're gonna have all kind of things. But here's what, it still puts me in awe. Like, for my son, I'm sure people got things going on in their own lives, but for my son and us, so the guy does this Goggins run, or does goodness of his own heart. Another guy does, he fasted for 5 days and raised money for Cammie. For us. My friend from India, he ran a martial arts tournament. Yeah.
I saw that
Yes.
online. I saw the tournament online,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
A tournament in India in the name of my son. He's going to run every year. That's what? Then a lady walked 100 kilometers, 70-odd-year-old lady, raised money for my son. Yeah, goes towards him. The comedy night, the kid I mentored says, hey, do you mind if I put on a comedy night for him? I'm like, okay. The proceeds will go to Cam. Wow. Okay. Comedy night put on. He hosted it. He emceed it. Another guy approached me yesterday on the weekend. Hey, in October, I want to run this thing with proceeds going to your son. I want to run a High Rocks tournament, and some of the proceeds going to your son's foundation. What? Then another guy, what he's gonna do is, last night, he's gonna do a seminar, and he's never charged. This is a discovery seminar, and he usually doesn't charge money for it, but he's gonna charge this time, and part of it he wants to give to Cammie's foundation. I'm like, cancer affects so many people. Why my God, but my point though is, when you leave a legacy, when you do things to help people, honestly and with humility, like, I don't do anything I do for, hey, something in return. I really do it from the goodness of my heart. And it's so nice when things like this happen and people start to, like, I want to do this for you. And we get messages anytime you're doing the gala, let us know. We have this, you want to lend this. Like, but you got stuff going on in your own life, don't you? Like, why do you want to, you know what I mean? So anyways, it's really, you get paid. There's a few times in my life, Dwayne, when I got paid back in amazing ways for the things you do that are not monetary. You know what I mean? Which means a lot more to me sometimes, is getting these little things that people do. I remember being in Mexico, and Dell, my second son, him and I were in the pool together. And everyone was heading, it was about 2:00. Everyone was heading back to the room to get rest for the evening. And him and I stayed back a bit, and he says, Dad, you know what, I want to tell you something. And this was a proud moment. I want to tell you something. He said, all the years I played ball at a high level, we traveled ball, everything. So I don't remember many of the hits, the this, the that. But all I remember is that you were there. And doing that one, I'm like, okay. I know I've always wanted to be on a team and get all this, And if you were to predict, I would have, traveled with a hockey team and get the ring, and that was my ring. That was my whole thing, right? He's 25, I think, at the time, or 27, somewhere in there. Yeah, he's 29 now. So maybe 26, somewhere in there. And he's sharing this with me. You have to sometimes pass away to have them say it in a.
Mm-hmm. That's your celebration of life. Yeah. You talked earlier about in this whole process, you've thought a lot about life. Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, do you have any closing comments on your perspective of life and the value and the?
Yeah, I do. I do have one, actually. I just learned this. I do. So when Cammie died, we filled his celebration of life. We started at 4 p.m., ended at 1 a.m. it was full the entire time. Full. This man, my son, lived 31 years, and his friends, the men, his friends, were crying like babies. He said he was the center of their life. They don't know what they're going to do without him. And then one of his friends posted something that said, I can't remember it now. It said something like, "How lucky are you to have something to cry for?" When it kind of something like that. He was so impactful that how lucky am I to have something to cry for? That he's gonna miss. And they gather. Oh my God! So the impact he's made. So that's one part of the answer to your answer is that impact. I can't in 31 years. So then I look at my father. I think he made it to 50. I'm not sure what he made it to. He was an unmarked grave. We put a John Doe number on the. I took a picture of the damn thing, and I think I may have lost the picture because I'm gonna write a book about it. The number of the plaque in the ground was numbers, not his name. When my grandmother passed, his mom, we walked because they buried in the same cemetery. We walked over and I saw it. I took a picture, but I gotta find that. Anyways, they found his family, who were estranged from him, pulled together and bought a tombstone and put it. He has one now, 20 years later. So then I have a friend now who is currently passing away. He's going through the cancer. And Dwayne, I can't help but have this feeling that he has an unlived life. I feel sad for him for some reason, like a really deep sadness for him, which I didn't even feel for my son. I felt sad that my son was always happening, but I didn't feel like he didn't live his life. So what's the meaning of life, Dwayne? The meaning of life, then, when you ask that question is, who will cry when you die? And what will I feel when you pass? Will I feel sadness for you that you didn't get to it yet? Whatever it is for you. I want to be sad that I'm going to miss you. Not sad that you didn't live. So many people, again, live lives of quiet desperation, or they don't never live out their thing. And life, I'm going to finish this. I have a book coming out, a second one, but I haven't finished yet because of the situation. It's 10 years ago that I wrote the first one. The second one, the next one is called 4 Pillars of Mastery. And the four pillars are clarity. What do you want? I think without clarity, you have nothing. You can't hit a target you can't see. Next one is courage. Next one is commitment and consistency. The courage piece, life takes courage, dying takes courage. Courage is everything. To live life, it takes a lot of courage, man. You know that.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people who live quiet desperation. To die, that also takes a lot of courage. To die. To take that last, to come to the place where you're at peace with it and you're ready. But that comes from living a courageous life. Mm-hmm. Courage.
Yeah.
It's necessary. It takes courage to say I'm sorry. It takes courage to say I love you. It takes courage. I remember Brené Brown in her book, for us married men, it takes courage to ask your wife to have sex. Because the rejection of no still hurts, even though you're married.
Right.
So it takes courage to do that. So life consistently requires courage. And if you lack it, I think you're going to, the courage to get out there after falling, get back up again. So the answer to your question is, what's life all about? Life is about being courageous enough to figure out what your exact blueprint is, like what you should be doing, what's your purpose in life, and then pursuing it relentlessly, pursuing it with courage. So and commitment. Because if I hear no, like Dwayne, if I were to pass today, I'd be okay. I can't think of anything I didn't do. Some things I shouldn't have done, but I can't think of anything I didn't do that was meaningful. I've said yes to many things, and yeah. So I think that's the key.
Look, your life is the definition of commitment.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Dude, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me.
I appreciate you sharing. I love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too,
you
brother.
know that.
Yeah, I know.
Been friends for a long time.
And I love you too, brother. I love you too.
I'm sad. I'm sad for Cammie, but I'm on the other side. I'm also extremely grateful that you guys had what you had and you had the time that you had. But
and you should also be grateful that you had an impact. Yeah. Your name was repeated in our house.
Thank you. How do people find you? If you want to be found.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. First, I love sharing. Okay, so I have a platform. I have 2 platforms: Personal Mastery Training on social media, and I've created one called Personal Mastery Elite for more business focus that I'm going to be launching. Website personalmastery.coach and Personal Mastery pmtelite.com. They are both out there. And my books. You can find on Amazon, my book, A Journey to Personal Greatness, Mind, Body, and Soul, A Blueprint for Life, Balance, and Self-Mastery. You can find on Amazon, and my podcast, Personal Mastery Training Podcast, on all the outlets that you can find them. That's how. I love to share. So, yeah, come along with me. I pose questions. I love to think. I don't own ideas. I don't own anything. I just have a lot of things I want to share that I've gotten from people. My journey with us as people, and I want to share them. So.
Yeah, I think that's the epitome of what you do. Is like you just share. The stuff that you're a voracious learner. Oh yeah, and you share that stuff, and you're humble. You're not one of those guys on social that make it sound like it's all their shit.
Yeah.
And so you're, dude. Yeah, I got nothing but respect and love for you.
You too. You know that.
And I'm glad you got here.
Long time, man. Long time.
It's been a long time.
Long time, and we've been.
My apologies for my insane schedule.
It's a perfect time, man. It's a perfect time. And I get it at this time, this perfect 100th episode, and it's perfect. It's perfect. So I love it.
I appreciate you being on the
love
show,
you, man.
brother. I love you too, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Alvin. I appreciate you being here so much. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you being with us. If you found value in the show and know a friend or coworker who could benefit from this conversation, please share the link via text or on social media. Remember, each share creates a ripple effect of knowledge and inspiration. And if this podcast has supported you in any way, please support us by clicking the follow or subscribe button. It helps us to improve the delivery of top quality content moving forward.
The views, information, or opinions expressed by guests during the Dwayne Kerrigan podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Dwayne Kerrigan and his affiliates. Dwayne Kerrigan or the Dwayne Kerrigan podcast is not responsible for and does not verify the accuracy of any of the information contained in the podcast series. The primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. Listeners are advised to consult with a qualified professional or specialist before making any decisions based on the content of this podcast.